most popularly AP Macroeconomics. Here is Tom Agnes with A Voice from the Other Side, You Are What You Do.
If that, oh. Well, this is comfortable. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming this evening, being enticed out of whatever you're normally doing and coming on a Friday night. It's an unusual title. I am the guy from the other side, and I hope to make it clear what the other side is, and including what I mean by you are what you do. I'm here speaking this evening because as of a couple of years ago, I could still say that more than twice my adult career has been in the business world and half as much time in teaching, but I've moved ahead on that. And I left that particular career because, for a variety of reasons, but that included becoming more and more frustrated working with adults who behave like high school kids. So, and I'm glad to see we have such a large turnout here for high school students. And I'm mostly targeting high school students tonight. And it's going to sound like a very negative approach, but I'm also aware that in most cases I'm preaching to the choir. But in the event, it got to a point where I decided I need to leave that business world, decided on teaching, and I was particularly interested in bringing to students at the high school level what it is that I observed in the business world. And besides, of course, teaching economics and history and civics and that sort of thing. And that's how I sold myself to the people that interviewed me. So that's the other side. But I'm going to start with where you all are at this particular moment. So we have the next slide, please. That's our high-tech way of switching by. So who exactly am I? I want you to see who it is that's delivering this message. So what is it that I did besides just being in the business world? When you get out of the education world, whether it be leaving right now after high school or going to college, post-college education, you're going to get to the other side. That is the other side, and it lasts for the rest of your life. This is, to use a sports analogy, this is kind of the practice field, and game day is the job. The only difference is it's every day is game day. So whatever you've got now that you're developing in terms of tools, that's what you're going to walk into that career with. All right. So why would my message be more to the point than someone else? Here's the things that I did, most of them at the same time. I'm the person that you're going to face at some point that has done these things. When you go and interview at that job that you want, whether it's not necessarily the career that you ultimately want to get into, or whether this looks like a pretty good job to start with, I'm the guy that interviews you. I'm the guy that was the guy that makes the decision if you're going to get hired or not. When you're hired, I'm going to participate in the training. I'm going to be the manager that oversees your day-to-day activities, hopefully not micromanaging, but I'm also going to be the person at the end of the year that is going to sit down and talk about your production, your performance at the end of the year, and most importantly, perhaps, what it is we think that you're going to merit in terms of some kind of raise for the next year. Now, that's a lot of power that I have over you. You're in a situation now in the education field where teachers have a great deal of power over you. They're kind of a gatekeeper towards where you want to go. Your immediate goals are certain colleges, and teachers are right there as a gatekeeper. I'm the guy that should be facing it at several different levels when you get into the business world. And while I don't want to overemphasize the importance of money, let's put it this way. If you're living in a ground floor apartment with 3 guys and you don't like 2 of them, and you're living in some part of town that you don't want to live in, and you have a car that 3 other people have owned before you, money is going to be an aspect. So when you sit down with me and we're talking about your performance over the course of the year, and I've got a range that I can work with, a 0% increase to maybe 8 or 10. 8 or 10 in the real world is a huge increase. That's a lot of power over somebody. If things really go south, I'd be the person to sit down and say, listen, you've taken a turn for the worse here. We don't have a place for you anymore. And I'm the guy that would also fire you. But, so that's why I'm taking this role of coming in and telling you this is what you need to prepare for. Good place to start is, where are you right now in terms of who you are and what kind of skills that you might be developing right now? Because I want to suggest you're well on your way to developing exactly who you are. Slide. Okay, so we're going to take a look at who am I now, meaning you all. I want to preface this. I'm going to finish up this way too. I kind of alluded to it. I work with a wide variety of students. Mixed in there are some absolutely incredible students. Now I'm going to be talking about alarming situations, but I do want to emphasize that. I have already seen in my time here at Danbury High School, students that I know, I've seen what they are and will be in a career world, and I know that I have daily rubbing shoulders with some of the best leaders coming up in America. I'm talking about a decision point, a fork in the road for many of you that probably merits a close examination. Okay, so we're going to pretend that I put together, obviously I haven't, a high-tech slideshow, and think about one of those beautiful multicolored pie charts that you have with all the wedges, which is it? Let's have the next slide. Okay, so picture the slide chart, the pie chart up there. It's full of wedges, and the wedges are who you are. This pie chart is who you are right now. And so I'm talking with a student right now, and we're going to say, all right, let me prompt you. So who are you? Well, what do you mean who I'm? What are you looking for? One sentence? All right, well, we've got wedges here. How do you interact with your friends? Are you loyal to your friends? Yeah, I'm pretty loyal to my friends. All right, well, there's a wedge. How do you interact with your parents? Are you respectful? Mostly. You're obedient as long as you live in their house? Yeah, okay, so there's another wedge. Do you work hard? Yeah, most of the time I work hard. Okay, this is a pretty good profile. Let's add in, are you athletic? I'm athletic, so that's also part of who you are. You're not just one thing, you are many different things. I've got a sense of humor, whatnot. I help old ladies cross at the crosswalk. Hopefully when the walk line says walk. So you're many things, okay? So fasten your seatbelt. So are you a cheater? Excuse me, Mr. Agnes? I said, are you a cheater? I'm not really sure how to take that. Okay, let me help you out with that. Let's just think back. Let's just say you are a junior. Have you found yourself in situations, in tests or quizzes, where you have you've gone in with the intention of getting answers someone? You've prepared a cheat sheet in some fashion. You've written it on your forearm with all those tattoos that you have. You've positioned yourself next to the 4.2 student, or you're waiting for Mr. Agnes to turn around, bend over, or whatever, and it's time to get somebody else's answers. Have you ever done that? Well, I guess so. Why did you do that? I didn't study the night before. It could be a variety of reasons. It could be, Mr. Agnes, Syracuse. Excuse me? I need the grades to get into Syracuse. Or it could be BC, or it could be UPenn, or whatever. Okay, and that would be a comment from some students. Homework. Did you ever cheat on your homework? I'm afraid to ask, Mr. Agnes. Let me make some suggestions. Did you ever get your answers from somebody else? Yeah, from time to time. Was that the intention of the teacher? No, the teacher gives you homework to reflect what was done that day or in advance of the next day. But did you go up and tell the teacher, listen, I didn't do this myself? Did you go up and tell the teacher that you cheated on the test? No, Mr. Agnes, because I'm not stupid. Okay, how about the term paper? How am I going to cheat on a term paper? How about that bibliography, that works cited page? Got 12 sources on there. Got a book and a journal. A book, Mr. Agnes. I read a book. That's great. You got 12 sources on there. Did you ever turn a page in like that? 4 of them you had no information from? Oh, okay. Did you go and tell the teacher that you did that? No. So the teacher comes around and checks the homework, and as you present it to them, the clear understanding is that I did this homework. The clear understanding is the test that I turned in, I did myself, and the paper, the sources are legitimate. You lied. Now wait a minute, I don't look at it that way. Well, let me think back what Daddy taught me. You know it's not the truth, and you tell it anyways, that's lying. I'm not saying that that's the perfect definition of you, but we need to put that wedge up there. That's what you do. Sometimes that's part of who you are. You're funny, you're loyal to your friends, you're good to your parents, but you're also a cheater. And I'm afraid you're also a liar. What do you think about that? Mr. Agnes, I think you're blowing this up a little bit more than, okay, that's up to you to arrive at that decision. But you made a business decision, is a phrase that we often use, that it's worth it. Whatever goal it is, you've decided. And I want to suggest to you, make that decision. You're going to spend something of yourself to get to here, but do not kid yourself that it's not cheating and it's not lying. That's what you decide to do, and I would argue that you don't need to do that to get into BC or Syracuse or any of these other schools. But understand and examine what it is that you do and realize what you do. Okay, slide please. This gets in the way, doesn't it? What am I going to do about my conscience? You got a couple of options. You can think of this as something that you can put your hands in, like an actual organ inside your body. Do I wrap this up in a way that these decision points don't get in there and cause a problem for my conscience? Because there's some kind of pain mechanism that bothers me in my brain when my conscience is not happy. So you could start wrapping your conscience up so it doesn't even consider this situation, or you could start rationalizing. I don't always do it. I'm not a cheater. I'm a good person. Mr. Agnes, I only cheat when I have to. Excuse me? Well, as opposed to what? Cheating just for fun? Cheating just to keep your edge? I can still do it. I was good at one time. I can still cheat. Don't kid yourself. And I'm trying to make a point of that, all kidding aside. And you're going to get better at this. You're going to college. I'm telling you, that's ground zero for cheating. And you're going to be in situations where you're pretty sure nobody is going to catch you. And all you've got is you, this fork in the road, that decision, and this. And you're going to carry this with you into the workplace. And just to preview what I want to move into here rather quickly is, I'm going to catch you at this. When you're doing it in a workplace and it's big stakes, I'm going to catch you at it. Why? Because I'm very good at that. I was very good at my job. And it's not that I'm crawling around stealthily, checking people's drawers and their desks out, but I was just good at it. And I'm able to see in the workplace matching up with situations here. I'm now, as disappointed as I was in the adults, I'm seeing students that are in some ways drifting off in the wrong way. And I love being in this position of being able to possibly steer them back. Okay, so what I see in the workplace is 20 different ways that people will use the same kind of methods that they use back at this time. I'm trying to move quickly here. Without going into a lot of details, I need to tell you, you'll be discovered. And the stakes are much higher than ISS, than detention, than a low grade. You're going to lose that job that you wanted. And now you've been at it for 6 months, and you've got to explain on a resume why you held a job for 6 months. Now try and explain that away. Real life example. You three, I need you to put together a project, background information, because I'm going down to Lower Manhattan to make a presentation to one of the biggest banks in the world, $1 million worth of business for our company. Get me this information in 5 days, I got to go down in 7 days. You've got to work with a group. Did you do that in a way back in high school that was productive? Did you let somebody else do the work? Do you get to the night before and you were doing something else and now you're cobbling together something and you give it to me and it's not really fully accurate? If fortunately I catch it, you're going to be out of there for that particular infraction. Do I go all the way down there and the bank finds out and we lose the business? That's a real life situation that happened to me. This is what I saw on a very regular basis. You don't have to take these particular steps right now. You don't have to do that to get through college. It's not going to get you to where you want. And as I said, when you get into that particular venue, the other side, the stakes are very, very high. You're also going to be competing. Whatever job you take, there's going to be a couple of other people at least doing the same job, and you're going to be compared to that person. So when I sit down and review you, I'm thinking about this person over here that did not suddenly start coming in 10 minutes late every week. 10 minutes late every day times all the work days is about 40 hours. And I think that particular way. This person practiced right from the start, back in high school, to do it a different way. It's all automatic. They don't have to think about it. Oh, what time? What are the job requirements as far as the simple stuff? Yeah, I got that. I finished my job at 3:30. What else you got for me? This person over here is, I finished at 3:30. I'm on the internet. I'm serious. This is what I saw. And that's what they practiced at. And I'm giving the raise to this person. You're not going to get a raise. And when there's a position available and I need somebody impressive, this person over here is going to get raised to the next position. And you're going to be miserable living with those two other roommates that you can't stand on a ground floor apartment. It's the real life. There's humor in it. But I really treasure the opportunity to bring this to you. There's a lot of people that will talk to you about this, and it's because it's intuitive. Talk to other people. I lived it, I saw it, and I now have the benefit of seeing it on both sides. How do we fix for time? A minute. Just want to try. This I show to my students is my paycheck. This is my contract with my employer. And there's not a darn thing written on there as far as the expectations, what I have to do. At various times it's made clear to me, but the number of things that are inherent, I believe, in what's expected from my employer, it's a long list. And I have no doubt what it is. And it's not a chore to me, because I'll find out what is the expectation, and I'm going to shoot for 110%. And I got to tell you, it's not just a feel-good feeling. In 100 different ways, you're going to reap the returns of that if that's what you do, because that is exactly who you're going to become. That's your reputation, and that's going to make you happy. Just being that way, but you are definitely going to get rewarded. Thanks very much for listening.